Previously.
1, 2, 3.
X-Rated, the X-Men animated review show.
I don't want to fight, but there's things we need to discuss.
Hello, and welcome to X-Rated, the X-Men animated review show.
It happened once and they just turned it into a big fucking lie.
Welcome to our big fucking lie, everybody. I am one of your hosts, Skeleban.
I am fucked up.
Ah, well, you know, these glasses are covering up something, that's for sure. And, you know, with me, as always, is my co-host.
On the inside, you're sick. I can smell it.
My X-23. He's a little sick on the inside. I can smell it. But we love him anyway. How's it going, my X?
It's fine. How are you? How come I always get such a sad, all my intros are like, fuck this guy.
It just seems to fit. I don't know.
That's offensive. Hey, welcome back. Good to be back after a week off.
Yep. We were going to have Kalman Andrasofszky here with us, but he had something he had to do, and it's all good. He'll be back and joining us some point.
He's dead to us. Oh, wait, no, he's coming back? Okay, never mind. He's alive and well to us.
We love him.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, how was your week off?
Busy. You know, life's busy. I'm busy. I have a lot of things on the go.
You do?
Yeah.
Well, let's catch up on old times.
What do
What do you think they're doing up there?
You know, what do you think they are doing up there? But you know what we should say first? We're here to review Logan from 2017.
That's right.
Yeah. What'd you think? Right off the top.
It's a very good movie. It's a very, very good movie. Whether it's
And would Jamil give it, a 0 or a 2?
Whether it's a good Wolverine movie is another question, I guess. But
we'll talk
as far
about that
as
too.
A movie on its own right, it's a fantastic movie. And a very good allegory to an old Western style of filmmaking, which is pointed very directly in the movie. In the movie, they even say that basically in a kind of tongue-in-cheek way.
I'll say this one. Going into a lot of these movies, there's a certain expectation. And it's either, you know, worse than you remember or better than you remember, usually. Usually they're not exactly how you remember. This one, actually, like, the things that bothered me about it, like, especially, like, the third act and stuff, didn't bother me as much this time. This one was a little better than I remembered.
I think it makes perfect sense all the way around. Almost, there's no real lingering questions. There's no just because logic. It actually is a great story that...
there's things I don't like. Like, X24,
you may not...
I think, is boring. Like, it could be anything, and it would have been interesting. What?
The girl?
No, that's X23. She's the best.
X24 is the clone. Yeah. I mean,
like, literally anything is more interesting than a clone at this point, you know? Like, anything. Literally anything.
I agree. But, you know, it would be interesting to see that, like, if it was Sabretooth instead or something. But I feel like
that would have been fun.
But I kind of feel like it makes more sense
narratively
that they did it the way they did it, facing a younger version of yourself and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, I mean, I get all that. But
I think it was more like facing a soulless version of yourself.
Yeah,
and they use that word soulless very specifically.
Well, and also seeing what because he cautions her about losing yourself to anger, and losing your humanity of sorts throughout the movie a little bit, and they're sort of both faced with what that looks like, which is terrifying. Like, Logan beats himself up for hurting people, and she says they're bad people. Yeah. And then he says, but all the same, they're still people. But then you see what it looks like because Logan actually cares about that, and that actually stops him from going too far when this thing doesn't. And it shows you what Logan would look like if he really didn't care. And also her, what it looks like if you don't keep your humanity. So
the Logan Laura stuff is the best part of the movie. Like,
actually,
as much as I love Professor X and Xavier, I didn't really.
I liked him in this.
He's one of my least parts of the movie too, kind of.
I liked him in this, but he doesn't seem like the Xavier we met before.
No,
but it's also because he has, a horrible degenerative brain
or
disease
something.
or dementia or ALS or something. So,
Yeah,
but he does
I
curse
think
a
they
lot,
said.
and it's rather pithy, more so than not pithy, but rather snappy.
Yeah.
Which is, but I like.
I just didn't find a lot of the I think they were going for a lot of comic relief with him, and it didn't land for me.
It seemed like a lot more of a real human connection.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we're also looking at a Xavier who's in his 90s and is drugged. and has-
Nonagenarian.
Yes, which is a funny little line in the movie too.
Yeah, that
But
was,
this one probably, like, as far as movies go, like, just not taking out all the X-Men stuff, what it means to the books, the core stuff, how it's celebrated or whatever. This is probably the best X-Men movie ever made, as far as just a movie goes. If you want to take it as far, like, if you just watch this as a movie, it's fantastic.
so
if you
it's
want to
getting
take
your
it,
highest mark, is it?
probably it's up there. It's definitely up
Let's
there.
see.
But
Let's see how she goes.
whether it like if you want to paint it with the brush of an X-Men movie, then I can see how it would dip in your eyes in that way. But within the continuity of the movies they've made before and everything else, I think it works really well. It's a really good
You can
story.
Do what if X-Men stories or
Well, they're doing. I mean, we're
getting.
we're getting them back in Deadpool and Wolverine, so obviously,
Yeah.
they can do whatever they want as long as there's money to be made. And it looks as though there are some things. Watching this again, it was interesting because I'd forgotten a few small things that they revisited in the Deadpool X-Men movie in the trailer and stuff. So it's like whether this is that Wolverine or a different Wolverine that fucked up his own timeline somehow. We'll find out.
I think it's a different one. One we've never known.
I would imagine so, based on the fact he's wearing the costume and everything. Although it just goes to show once again that Logan will never get a happy, kind of a happy ending, no matter what universe he's in. Apparently,
No.
There's a version of this.
Multiversal constant.
There isn't a version of this that came out that has this film in black and white, which I'd be interested to watch because it does. I do think that would give it a more noir-y look until it gets to the end.
It's quite gray anyway. It's like there's not much color in this movie.
I really didn't expect it to be bright.
No.
It does take place, I guess, in Las Vegas. So, or near Las Vegas initially.
They're like on the Mexican border. So they're probably in Texas.
Well, they do go to Las Vegas, don't they? When they're in the casino. I know that's supposed to be Las Vegas specifically, but they are heading towards Oregon, which is pretty far,
way up north.
Yeah, from where they were. So
North
it's kind of a road trip movie. It kind of reminded me a bit of Little Miss Sunshine. If you remember that movie,
I've seen that movie,
which I love dearly. It's a great movie.
I like that movie.
You guys haven't done road trip movies on your podcast yet. That'd be a good one for that.
Yeah, it's a good one for season 3. Yeah, it's a good idea.
You guys have road trip movies already planned? Or
No.
you don't have all your themes dug out yet? It's really weird talking to you with those glasses on. You're trying to tell what your eyes are. You definitely look like a mutant.
Yeah, I like it. Skeleban. Or Toad. Kind of like Toad's goggles.
Yeah, kind of. Well, if you're a Caliban, you need.
I have a wicked tongue.
Caliban had to have the whole. You need the whole outfit to go with it.
Know what happens to a host when he's hit by lightning?
In full circle, it has come back. We're back full circle.
But yeah, so how was your week away?
Well, I only went away for the weekend, but it was good. We went up to the what's the place? Lake Squatec in just over the border in Quebec. About 6, almost 7 hours from here, from my place. It was nice. Yeah, we had a beautiful. Me and some friends met up there. We had a beautiful cabin it's in a campground, but it's right on the lake pretty much, and it was awesome. We had a blast with the hot tub there. We went on a hike. We went and checked out some distilleries and watched some movies, played some games. It was a really good time.
Sounds good. Very
Yeah,
good.
I forgot to wear I just realized I forgot to wear my official X-Men merchandise shirt. But
Boo.
I know.
So did I. I'm just wearing.
I wore my Nita was right last time.
Okay.
I have a kind of outfit I normally wear around the house. It's usually just a plain T-shirt and then some Saks sleepwear shorts. So I tend to just be wearing that anyway when it comes to filming. It's just a black shirt. But yes, I should remember to rep the brand, as it were. Although I did put,
especially since you have 3 different ones. That's very
actually, I
cool.
have one of my own. I have one of my own up there now. A design I made for a T-shirt. A design I made for a one of the movie nights I host down here. Somebody asked me if they could get it as a shirt and asked if I had a Redbubble. And I thought it's not a bad idea, so I set one up for myself and made.
Nice.
So you can get a "They Live" T-shirt.
Can you get your old school Andre Myatt merch up on there?
I believe it's no, I don't. But that's not a bad idea either. But Uber Dre, Uberdre is where you can find me, I think.
Because you're an Uber driver now.
No, I always had that. I don't know why. I think it's, I like the word Uber. This is long before the company was around when I was a kid. So like some of my usernames on like certain things that I have to put a username for is usually Uber Dre. Like I think it's that on my letterbox. If you ever want to follow me on there. But how do you ensure it? Because I just Googled my name. Like I just tried to search my username in Redbubble and it didn't come up. So maybe you just gotta set it up today. It takes some time. But.
Their search algorithms are a little bit confusing.
So I even typed in "They Live," which should bring you to it. I couldn't find it either.
But other than that, I found they've been working all right for us. Go to our Redbubble, check it out, and check. We got some cool merch up on there, and more to come. Mm-hmm. So, should we talk about Logan?
Who?
This movie.
Right, there's a movie.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right,
let's do it. Let's get.
I took Edith to her first theater show, so that was kind of fun.
Yeah, I saw you posted them at the theater. That was cute. What'd you take them to?
Inside Out 2.
Well, how did she see Inside Out 1?
Yeah, she loves it.
Oh, okay, good. Well, I was going to say, how could she follow the complex plot?
Yeah, she calls it the fairies movie.
She considers them fairies?
Yeah, they're all fairies.
Oh, that's cute.
Yeah, she's cute.
Oh, shit.
What did you do?
I'm bleeding. I don't know. I cut my leg on something.
Oh, my God. Look, Andre's dying. Use your healing powers there, my X-23.
Look, red. What movie's
Blood!
That from? What movie's that from? And the guy's hand's covered in red, and he says, look, Kazan or Kez, whatever the guy's name is, they're red. You must get this. It's an independent Canadian movie. I feel like it's one you would definitely know about.
No.
Actually, it's a movie you should have on your show, too. Cube.
Oh, Cube.
By Vincenzo Natali. It's a fantastic movie.
You can pick Cube. Find a theme for Cube.
I think I should be a more standard. I don't know if I have the time to, but I want to be a more frequent part of your show, of that show. It's fun. I like it.
Now we can make that happen.
Can you?
Yeah, I have the power.
Let's hope.
All right. Oh, I have the power.
Okay.
I'm going to Toronto just to lay all the law down. I'm putting
when is that again?
down. We'll have our next week's show, and then the week after that, we will be off again. I will be in Toronto.
Tirana.
What
are you going to be in Tirana for?
Yeah, an impromptu vacation. Gonna go to the zoo and the Ripley's Aquarium.
I went to go there. Every time I was in Toronto, I meant to go there. Never got there.
Oh man, the aquarium's the best.
I'm not a big fan of zoos.
Me neither, but
I get it with kids. You want to take them. I tend to go to wildlife parks because they're usually made up of animals that have been injured and can't be released.
Yeah, I agree.
So at least that way they're either that or they're dead. So it's kind of like I feel better about it. But the zoos and
there is a deeper conversation to be had that does the animal awareness and love for animals that zoos create with children outweigh the downsides of being a zoo and imprisoning the animals? Like, there's a whole thing there. But
I feel like there's other ways you can see them. Go to a Vegas show. I'm sure they're treated better there.
I'm sure they are.
Yeah, go see a lion.
Go see Siegfried and Roy.
Oh, they retired long ago. There's lots of others that still live.
They were eaten by tigers.
And one of them was
retired?
One of them was mauled.
Yes. Let's get into it.
All right. Get on. God damn, it's a good start. Me yawning. All right. Logan, 2017, I think this movie came out. Is that right?
Yep.
Yeah, so not that long ago. Get closer in our timeline. I believe the next movie in our list is Deadpool 2.
Yep.
Okay. Which I'm sure will be a joy. I don't think I've rewatched.
My buddy Sam's joining us for that one.
X-Men Sam?
Yeah, X-Men Sam.
All right, so we begin with old Logie boy sleeping in a car. There's a sign behind him that says El Paso, so you're right. He must be in New Mexico or somewhere, or not Mexico, Texas or New Mexico or somewhere along the border.
El Paso's in Texas.
Well, it says there's a sign that says El Paso, 62. So, but I'm assuming it's probably Texas. So he wakes up because people are trying to strip the car that he's sleeping in. He gets out. He tries to get them to stop. But they force the issue. And he gets in a big elaborate fight with them. His claws come out, but they come out very slowly. And you can also see he's an older Wolverine. So there's obviously something going on with his abilities, which we come to know a little later. But he gets in a pretty elaborate fight where he cuts off some arms and legs. This is definitely the most violent depiction of how his powers would work in real life than any other movie.
Yeah, he would just maim people constantly.
There's people's heads. There's claws going right through their skulls, heads getting sliding off, arms, legs left and right. Like, it's actually pretty cool because this is, if you had this adamantium, unbreakable, super crazy metal claws, you wouldn't just be right in the chest and throwing a guy off to the side. He's swinging wild, cutting off arms and legs and hands and shit. It's cool.
Yeah, it looked a bit silly in some of the older movies, actually. Like when he would throw them behind him, and he would be standing there like this.
Yeah, they still had to try to depict his powers within a not too violent way to keep it beneath a certain rating, right? Yeah. So anyway, but he fucks them all up, and obviously they try to shoot him, and he puts himself between the car and the bullets because he doesn't want them to damage the car. As we come to find out, it's a limo, and he's a limo driver. That's what he's doing in this future. But he gets back in the car and he leaves. The plates on the car are Texas, so that may explain. We know he's in Texas.
Also, Texas is very big. I'm pretty sure if you drive 64 kilometers from El Paso in any direction, you're still in Texas. Possibly in Mexico if you go south. But
I think it was like a highway sign that said 62, like the Route 62.
Oh, Route 62.
So it's probably Route 62.
Never mind.
Not the distance. But we also come to find out as time goes on that is the year 2029, I believe. So we're getting there.
Okay. We're getting there.
In the continuity of the show, so it's only 10.
Well, they say Canada's a haven and that U.S. is crumbled into anarchy, and you know what? That seems to be happening. By 2029, we might be there. We
very well could be.
Yeah.
We see him basically clean up by changing his clothes, getting rid of his other ones, getting back in the car, and continuing on his job, which is driving some rich guy with a cowboy hat around who's talking in his car. We also see him taking one of his clients to a funeral in which he's approached by a Hispanic lady. He calls him Wolverine. He tells her to get away
Gabriella,
from him.
I think her name is.
Yes, it is, as we come to find out eventually. He tells her to get away from him. He's, sliced behind him, basically. And helps, his client from the funeral get back in the car. She asked him who that was. He said, just some crazy lady. He heads to a hotel, basically, hospital, where he's picking up meds that he buys that we'll come to find out later for Charles. But he's being followed by a devious-looking dude with a robotic hand, played by Boyd Holbrook, who's a cool actor, actually, and he's quite good in this.
Him.
You know?
He is good. He's quite good in this.
Most recently, he was in The Predators, which wasn't a very good movie. But
that's the best thing. Oh, go ahead.
He's also in a movie I really, really liked that not a lot of people have seen. Oh, he was in The Sandman. He played the guy with the eyes, the teeth eyes guy, the serial killer.
I didn't see that.
You didn't watch Sandman? Wow, why not? I think you'd like it a lot.
All right, maybe I'll watch it.
Have you liked the comics?
Yeah.
Really? You never liked Sandman? This is quite a revelation, sir.
I only read Preludes and Nocturnes.
Well, you have to read the whole thing. It's so good. How do you not like Sandman?
It didn't hook me on Preludes and Nocturnes.
Well,
so
watch the show.
Maybe I'll do it that way. Yeah, maybe I'll do it that way.
Because the show is quite good. He plays a Corinthian in it, who's like a nightmare given physical form.
Mm-hmm.
But he was in The Predator, the last, not the Prey movie, but the one before that, the Predator movie. He was in Narcos. He's in the last Indiana Jones movie. He's in a movie that I really like that other people have seen. It's called Vengeance. BJ Novak wrote it. He plays like a podcaster who a girl that he slept with once dies, and on her phone she had him listed as her boyfriend. So the family reaches out to him, and he's not sure what's going on, but he feels guilty enough that he goes to the funeral and then kind of gets wrapped up in trying to help solve how she died. And Ashton Kutcher's in it, and this guy plays like her brother. He's in Justified, the new movie that they made, the City Primeval. He's in a bunch of stuff. He's a cool actor. He's in The Bike Riders, which is kind of a new movie that I've been meaning to go see that I haven't got a chance to see yet. So, but yeah, he's cool. I think
he's pretty good in this. I mean, it's go
very
ahead.
good in this. Very good in this.
Yeah, well, it's like because he's totally out of his league against Wolverine or Laura or Xavier, really. But he never acts like he is, and he never seems like he is. Like he's still kind of intimidating even to them. And he has no right to be. He's just a guy with a metal hand. Like they would tear him to shreds. But he's, he does run from Laura pretty cowardly at one point.
He's part of the Reavers, as we established in this, who are
yeah. I would have liked to have seen more of a developed Reavers. I think like they could have gone full like Mad Max-ish with it, where like guy with tanks for legs and like that. Like,
there are some guys listed in the like Bone Breaker and
is he there?
Boy. Yeah, Bone and Make it like so. There are others that are kind of named some of the characters. Probably really a name only because they don't get to do much or do anything really.
No, but a little more fleshed out Reavers, I guess, would have been pretty cool. But
there's a lot going on in this movie. It's like 2 hours and 20 minutes long. So
yeah, it's pretty long.
But it didn't feel that long. It did go by fairly fast, I found. But
road movies usually do because they keep moving.
So Logan, when he gets back to his car, this guy gets in the back seat and tells him that he's visited by a Hispanic woman. She has something that this guy wants back, gives him his card. Logan sees the name on the card, the company, which he recognizes as being a big issue.
Alkali.
Yeah, Alkali. Alkali, which is the lake that he was at before. And connected to the old Weapon X program and all that stuff, which I guess he recognizes. So he realizes they're kind of fucked. He goes out to... Also, Boyd seems to know about Charles is still alive out in the desert. Wolverine denies that, says he died years ago.
Pierce. Pierce.
What did I say, Pierce?
Boyd.
Oh, sorry. Yes, that's right. His name is Pierce in the movie. Boyd Holbrook's the actor. Thank you. But does he have more, or is it just Pierce? Okay, it's just Pierce. I thought he had a full last name too.
He does in the comics.
So who is he in the comics? Does he have
Donald Pierce.
Does he have a superhero name?
No, he's Donald Pierce. He's one in the Hellfire Club, and
he's a Reaver,
the guy with the metal hand. Yeah.
Oh, perfect. So he is a real character. Yeah. Oh, that's funny. Okay, I have I'm gonna give you one of my little tips for later because I have them listed up here and it just caught my eye. James Mangold described the initial treatment for this movie as Little Miss Sunshine meets The Gauntlet.
It's funny.
So The Gauntlet's like a 1977 Western. No, it's a Clint Eastwood movie. It's like not a Western, sorry. It's like a crazy action movie. But, obviously Little Miss Sunshine being the road movie with a ramshackle family. So he goes out to the desert. We meet Caliban, played by Stephen Merchant, the tall, lanky friend of Ricky Gervais. He's in a lot of his projects. And, has been in his own movies. He's a good director as well. He's a cool guy. I like him. He's very funny in everything he's in.
Folding your underpants and making him Spotted Dick.
Which is also like the third version of Caliban we've seen in the show, in these movies.
That's what I mean. That was going to be one of my X points, like the Caliban obsession.
We don't really do X points for these ones. We kind of just go through fun notes.
It's at least 2. I don't know if there was 3 versions.
Well, this is definitely the second. We know there's one in Apocalypse in the last movie.
Yeah, exactly.
It's very different.
Way different.
So,
which one do you like better?
No, this one's way better. The other one was kind of cool in a stylish way, but this one had some heart and was actually a cool guy. Also, I like how there's subtle things in this movie that they don't really beat you over the head with it, but if you're paying attention, it's interesting. Like we know Caliban used to hunt mutants for the government, or at least for this entity, because of his abilities. But then also he's referenced religion a few times, and then somebody says, "Did you find God? Is that why you stopped doing this?" And that is the reason. But he doesn't say it, but you kind of you can piece it together. So it's interesting. I think there's some it's really rich, this movie, with a lot of little things peppered throughout that if you're paying attention reward you, which always make for a cool movie. So, so we find out that he gets the meds, gives them to Caliban. Caliban's acting as sort of a caretaker for Charles, who has a bad, he's in his 90s now, and he has some kind of degenerative
ALS,
brain
they say, is what it is.
They say dementia or ALS or something like that. because I was trying to figure out exactly what it was, but it's Pierce who says which one is it, or he lists off a few of the reasons. But I don't think
it
it's said
could just
directly.
be his, just with age losing control of his massive powers. Like that could do a lot of damage.
Or maybe it's Rice that says that's Xander Rice. Somebody says something about the disease because they say like the most powerful brain in the world with a degenerative brain disease. Like what basically his brain's a weapon. Like I think at one point Pierce says his brain was classified as a
weapon of mass destruction.
Yeah, weapon of mass destruction. So because I mean, essentially with Cerebro, he could reach every mind of the planet. So it's pretty mad. It's been a lot of destruction on a mass level.
Oh yeah.
So
well, as we see in this movie at one point.
Well, that's what I mean. We kind of this is where it takes some of the overarching, like as a movie by itself, it's great. But what it means for the overarching X-Men universe that we've been established up to this point is wholly and sadly depressing.
But you know what? That X-Men universe was sad and depressing to me.
At least we had bits of hope here and there. This one's like, nope, Charles is going to freak out and kill. I mean, yeah, it's just the idea that like most of the X-Men were killed by Charles had this condition. It's fucking crazy. Like the whole movies are always like, X-Men need to be stopped because they're mutant powers and they're dangerous, can hurt people, and then he proves they're right. Like he proves they're right. So. Anyway, so Caliban's acting as some kind of a nursemaid, really, for Charles, who has some kind of brain condition. They're keeping him in this big metal thing that's supposed to hopefully keep his power sort of in check.
Just like a water tower.
Yes.
Or something.
Also, like the medication isn't enough anymore, but Logan's having trouble getting the money to get more and other supplies they need. As we learn soon after, he's trying to save up to get a boat so they can get away from all this.
Sunseeker.
The Sunseeker. But it costs like 70,000. It only has like 40 saved or something, 40 or 50. So that's why he's doing all this work, try to get the money he needs to get him and Charles to safety off somewhere. Caliban mentions that. Is it happening right here? Yeah. So when Logan's trying to talk to him, we see Charles isn't quite in his right mind. He does come back later, but at this point, he's sort of just singing something to himself. Okay, doesn't know where he is. And doesn't really and remembers parts of the past life, talking about New York and like from the first movie where they fought Magneto in the Statue of Liberty and all that sort of stuff. But as Logan's trying to reason with him, he starts having one of these seizures, which starts affecting everybody around him, Wolverine and Caliban only because they're the only ones nearby. Caliban, basically is having a mini seizure himself, while Logan manages to put the drugs in Charles to get it to stop. But Charles has a bit of lucidity and asks how long he's been there, and what Logan did is he doesn't understand why the X-Men aren't around him anymore. He doesn't know what happened. And he also says he shouldn't have to live like this, like trapped in a thing. And Logan says it's for his own good, and he says it's not. But
it's
Logan,
sad, man.
It is very sad, actually. It's like what awaits all of us basically in getting older is it's fucking depressing.
Even right before Xavier dies, it's like he just has a really sad moment. So
I know.
His character is 100% sadness.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
But he's sort of taken the place of Logan in that story in the comic book, like.
Yeah, Logan almost becomes I wouldn't say he's a symbol of hope, but he certainly has hope because he's trying to get off on this boat with Charles and Caliban even says like I'm not coming along. Like he says we're going to get away from all this, and he says, well, I can't go. Like he can't go into the sunlight because of his abilities. It burns him. So like, what's he going to do? Live on the boat and not be able to be in the sun? Like, of course.
I like his line. He's like, what am I going to do? Scurry below deck like Nosferatu. That's pretty funny.
And he also says that he found an adamantium bullet that Logan carries with him. Yeah. Says if he's going to blow his brains out, can he not do it here because he just cleaned the floors, which is fun. This is where we get a little bit of a nod to what, Logan's level of how he's dealing with what's going on. He also find out that Logan's not healing as well as he used to. And that's where Caliban said, there's something wrong with you. You're sick inside. I can sense it with this ability.
Adamantium poisoning. Same in the comics.
We come to learn out later, yes. But it's also because of the stuff they put in the food. Well, that's all be revealed as we get along. So anyway, Logan does surmise at some point that the adamantium may be what is killing him, but that's not far later until he meets Xander Rice. But anyway, he goes. He's off working again. He runs into a group of. He's taking a bachelorette party around. Fun side note: this is the first X-Men movie to show breasts, naked breasts, because it has happened in the scene where the I guess the bride to be while drunk shows her boobs to the driver, and he's not really impressed because it's just a job for him basically. But he does get a phone call from a number, something mysterious about meeting them at some hotel. He also wears little reader glasses now, which is funny. Like you see how old he's getting. He gets an Uber call to pick up someone at a hotel. So he goes to the hotel and then he sees a little. Oh yeah, so when the girl that tried to talk to him before, the Gabriella, drove away, there's this little girl in the backseat that Logan noticed. When he arrives at the place to pick up this call, he sees the same little girl again, and then talks to this woman, who brings him in, offers him was $25,000 to take them.
Yeah, and then there's more waiting for him.
I think it's 25 here and 25 when they get them where they got to go. To get them to the border. That there are men coming for her kid, and they want his help. She knows who he is, and they only have a chance to get to this place by Friday, and Logan needs to get them there. So basically, he takes them up on it because he needs the money to finish off this his plan. He goes off and talks to Charles, who is lucid again. And Wolverine kind of explains he's got to go do this thing for a few days and then he's going to come back. But at one point, Charles says that he's disappointed in him and like he worked so hard with him to make him into a better person, and that this is what he's doing now. But he doesn't really understand the level of what's happened. Mm-hmm. So Logan's kind of just putting up with it because he can't explain to him why the world is the way, why they are in the situation they're in, because he's trying to spare his feelings. So it's actually even further touching that way because he's even like being more of a hero himself in a way by trying to spare Charles the horrifying truth of what really happened. Yeah. Which we find out from a news report on the radio that was
it's not as bad as you. What?
It was only a year ago that his episode killed the X-Men. They mentioned it that there was when another event shows up later, the radio is talking and they mention an event similar to what happened in Rochester a year ago. So,
but it also like mentions too, like in my mind, he killed the whole school or something. But like
they said 7 or 8.
He's like, yeah, and like 3 or 4 X-Men. Like
I think they said 7 or 8
X-Men.
Yeah.
Oh, did they?
Yeah.
But yeah, like it wasn't as many as you'd think. He didn't like annihilate the school like I figured he did.
But it makes you wonder where everyone else is. If he's only killed 7 of them, where's everyone else?
Yeah, it's like the 7 we've seen in this continuity.
Yeah,
that's all the X-Men there ever was.
Let's say this is after the happy ending Logan got at the end of Days of Future Past, which I think it would be. Then let's say it's Jean, Scott, Storm, Beast. Like there's still Iceman, maybe Kitty, or not Kitty. Yeah, Kitty and Rogue. Yeah. So that's pretty
kicking around.
Colossus, Nightcrawler, all those guys are still around somewhere.
Yeah.
So yeah. Who knows?
Nightcrawler went back to Germany.
Yeah, probably. But anyway, he goes back to pick her up because he got a message from her to ask him to please hurry, and he said he's on his way. When he gets back, he finds that she's dead. Gabrielle's been killed. He finds her phone that she was hidden because when she was talking,
everybody's been killed in this movie.
A lot of people died in this movie. Very much.
You don't have healing powers. You've been killed in this movie.
Very much get to know Logan means you're going to die.
Yeah, it's pretty sad in that way. That's a classic Wolverine story, though, in the comics too. It's just just knowing him, you're in trouble. Well, Sabretooth might just hunt you on Wolverine's birthday because that's what he does. Like, yeah.
The actress that played Gabriella was quite good, actually. Only had a small role, but I recognize her from Orange is the New Black. She's
me too.
A major character in that show.
Yeah, she was good in that show.
So anyway, he sees that she tried to text more but stopped. He finds her phone. He saw the suit and compartment. She kept her money and her phone in before when he talked to her, but he finds that she's been killed. When she was trying to tell them that they were there, they were so.
She was like the worst mother ever in that series. So Orange is the New Black. Like, she's going out on this like date with this like rich guy, and she's like not even feeding her kids, and she's just like, "I'm eating oysters tonight, bitches," and then like just to her little kids, and then like walks out of the room. Just like,
yeah. She learned through the show. I mean, how bad it was, but
yeah,
that show was really good, but a little meandered a little. Like it kind of went around. It didn't, but it was quite good. So Charles Logan thinks something was wrong to begin with. He brings the van back while Caliban's out there wearing his full gear in the sun so he doesn't get burned. He looks at the car, notices the trunk is open, and goes over and smells it and realizes that somebody hid in the trunk and came back with Logan. He calls for Logan to come out. He also fights her ball, which he was playing with earlier. But when Logan comes out, he sees all these cars pull up, which is made up of Pierce and a bunch of his goons. They said that, she got killed. Gabrielle mentioned that it was her boyfriend that was after them, which I'm guessing Pierce was.
I don't know if I feel like she was just saying that.
Possibly. It's that's kind of what I assumed. I don't,
just to like end the conversation.
Exactly. To have her own reason and not explain everything about what was going on.
Yeah.
But Logan got her phone, and he still has it. And there's stuff on it that he's going to watch and learn more later. But anyway, Boyd's upset that Logan didn't call him because he was supposed to in case something happened. And it's also like Pierce also mentioned several times that he's a fan. Like he liked the X-Men, he liked Wolverine.
Well, because he's cloning him. Like he's part of this. Is like, we think you're great enough to clone.
Well, like as a kid, he probably read the X-Men comics that like they're apparently within the universe, somebody made X-Men comics loosely based on the actual adventures of this universe's X-Men.
I kind of liked that. It was kind of a funny thing to do in the world.
And also, like, I like that they showed their X-Men's costumes in it, and they all they look like our comics, but just a little different. Like Wolverine's
but he doesn't comment on that.
Weird things on his head and other things, which are kind of cool.
Yeah, that was great.
But anyway, so when it's just Boyd by himself, actually. Sorry, that first shows up. Or not Boyd, sorry, Pierce. The first shows up. Then Logan sees that this guy has a metal hand. He says, the one has been enhanced. But then he gets knocked out from behind by the girl with a pipe who throws and hits him in the head. The girl we saw from before. Then Charles comes out and says that he's been talking with the girl mentally. And Charles did mention earlier that he's been talking with someone mentally with using his.
They just thought he was crazy. Yeah.
They just thought he was crazy, but apparently this is her, because we found out or in the earlier conversation that there have been no new mutants born in like a decade, and mutants are kind of dying off because there's no new generations of them. We'll come to find out.
And he knows her name, and she never says anything.
Exactly, her name is.
Like, this is Laura.
So Logan tells Caliban to take this guy's body off to someplace and dump it so they can get away. And Charles is trying to convince Logan to help because this is sort of Charles is like latching back onto his old dream about helping wayward mutants get the help they need to get to safety. So he's trying to get Logan to do that. And he's loading them up in the car basically because where we go here. Sorry to get back to the story. So Caliban brings him out, brings a guy out to the desert to drop him, but he regains consciousness, and then his friends are on their way as humans show up. Then they all go up and kind of go to take Logan and take the girl back, resulting in a big old fight where we find out that the girl has abilities like Logan's, because he's trying to pack up things, and then they show up. She's trapped inside, and everybody surrounds Logan outside, and they fuck him up using their abilities and their powers and stuff. They send a guy in to pick up X-23, who's eating cereal inside, and then she cuts his head off, throws it out the door, and then there's a big old fight that ensues between Logan and the girl. And we find out that her abilities are like Logan. She has claws, 2 that come out of each hand, and also come out of her foot, both of her feet. Do they do that in the comic? I've never. Yep. Okay. So, and there's a big old fight where there's lots of Logan, shows up to save her, basically. And they try to get away in their limo, and there's a big high speed chase, which results in them eventually getting away. They're told Wolverine's told that Caliban was killed, but he wasn't. He was captured by them, and they're going to use his abilities to. This is where I talked about how he mentions he used to hunt, using his abilities to hunt for mutants. For them, they're going to get him to do so again because they torture him by putting him in the sunlight. And Pierce even says, like, I bet your mother told you to beware the light because it burns him when he's out in the light, which comes back a little later.
It does.
Logan manages to watch the video on the phone, which is a video. Oh wait, do we get to that part first? Because I think it cuts out before. Oh, there's more to it. So he's watching the video, which shows that Gabriella worked in a facility, the Acolyte facility, or for them, in which they were making mutants based on the DNA that they had on file, making clones of these mutants, or new children, rather, impregnating.
They tried the children route first, and clones is like
right. Clones is like later, but first off, they're women. So X-23 in essence is Wolverine's son because they used his DNA to impregnate a woman, and she was given birth, a Mexican woman.
They thought they could make perfect child soldiers, but they realized that maybe some of the kids don't want to be child soldiers. They're like, damn it, you can't just make them child soldiers.
Yeah. We see that
Xavier can. How does Xavier do it so well?
He pretends like it's for kind reasons. He pretends
they just really needed to hire Xavier this whole time. Is what's funny.
That's right.
This movie does have depth.
Yeah. It's just a different kind. It's a stick versus a carrot. Xavier gave him the carrot. He's like, you guys be soldiers for me, and maybe one day you won't have to be anymore. The world will be better.
Mutant child soldiers. That's a great idea.
Why did I think of that? So while Wolverine's learning this, watching the phone with Charles in the car, Laura goes into the store and she's eating chips and taking sunglasses. And when the guy approaches her and tells her she got to pay for all that and tries to stop her from leaving the store, she fucks him up, is basically ready to kill him. And he's stopped by Logan.
He's like, no, not okay.
Yeah.
No.
I like how she's very much a child, but a child with a crazy temper. And Logan's just sort of trying to keep her in line. It's really funny.
And like he also steals.
Yeah,
he's like, you're like, where do you sell phone chargers? And he just takes one and a cigar.
The phone died before he could finish watching the video. So and he also takes on the counter. They had a bunch of cigars. He takes a handful.
Yeah.
So,
you can't just steal things. He tells her later. You know, he did the same thing. But anyway,
so we see him watching the rest of the video. Charles and Laura are asleep. He's watching the rest of the video in the car, and realizes. The last video ends up basically with her still in the hotel room, leaving this saying, if I die, this is the record. Like there's a place where they can get the kids to, and there's these coordinates in Oregon that if they get to, that they can get to a place called Eden, which is a safe haven for mutants. And
she then finds, well, I guess later.
Also, part of the stuff they found in her bag is like a comic book where that Laura had that was old X-Men comic books, which we find out in the universe. Logan references them as being bullshit. And half of the story, only like a third of these things ever happened, and even they didn't happen the way they're depicted in the comics. So, they're given, which I like.
Who sold them the rights? Like who had the rights to make these comics of real people in their real life adventures?
Maybe it helped sway. It probably helped sway. The reasons, remember in the Spider-Man comics, he can never copyright himself as Spider-Man because he'd have to give up his identity. But in the X-Men universe, it's known they're X-Men and they have powers and mutants.
True.
So maybe it's more of a PR thing, right? Like to make the public cool with them by telling these heroic stories of their adventures. But I don't know how they get around getting the likenesses and the rights. Even if criminals say they catch some other mutant criminal who goes to jail.
The Blob. Like, what does the Blob think?
Yeah. What's he feeling? What's Fred feeling about all this?
Yeah.
So anyway, they go to they're in a casino, basically where one of their stops of hiding out. And Laura, they get some new clothing, and Laura keeps pressing all the buttons on the elevator. And then they're hanging out in the hotel room, and they're watching the classic cinema movie. Jesus Christ, the classic cinematic Western film, Shane. Which is a very similar storyline to this movie, which is the nod to the cowboy-ishness of this movie. the kind of lone gunman guy that is sort of the soldier his whole life and is given a chance to have a real family and be happy and can't really do it because he's too broken and too messed up from his life of violence. But he tried.
Shane, come back.
Come back, Shane.
This isn't the only movie I've seen where people in the movie are watching Shane.
Oh, it's a very popular. I've actually never seen it, but I know well enough to know what it is. I should watch it.
Yeah, me too.
Certainly would, but it is because it's a movie that has kind of been remade a lot. Not necessarily beat for beat, but the concept has been Clint Eastwood's made like 5 of these. You know, like the hard comes to town and like
he just wanted to be in the original, and he's been sour ever since.
Yeah, like the hard ass that comes to town. Actually, Shane's probably like it's an old movie.
It's an old movie.
Yeah, it's a very old movie. Like as far as westerns go, it's from 1953. So I don't think I don't think he was around then.
No,
I mean, he's an very old man. He's in his 90s now, but he certainly wouldn't have been. I guess he might have been, but he would have been quite young. He didn't really get a start with westerns until the spaghetti westerns, all that stuff. But anyway, they're watching Shane in the hotel room, and Logan and Charles Laura and Charles seem to have a nice little relationship, where he's explaining like how important of a movie Shane is, which is kind of interesting. It kind of ties into a lot of this.
Says he used to watch it when he was a kid. So.
Yes, Logan also leaves the car for a bunch of crazy people to steal, to get it out to trade. There's a bunch of like gang members, and he throws them the keys and says, "Here's yours," and then uses some of the money that he's accrued and the money given to him by that woman to get a car for no questions asked. He's getting a pretty nice truck for $8,995, which to me seems insanely cheap.
He's like, "How about I give it to you in cash and we don't do paperwork?" She's like, "Well, you at least need tires, man. They're bald."
So he says, "How long will that take?" She says, "An hour." So he goes to a bar nearby and has a drink. And then he's flipping through this comic that she found in her bag. And in the comic, there's a story where Wolverine, and it's funny because it shows like Storm and Charles and Rogue and him and Colossus. And there's all this, and they're just kind of like similar to how we know them, but the costumes are just a little different, which is fun. Like that, but you see there's coordinates they're trying to get to in the comic, which are the coordinates that he's told to get Laura to. So he begins to put together that maybe this isn't a real thing and it's just something that Gabriella was crazy or something, or read too many comic books and believed was a real place. This Eden. It
even mentions Eden, like the title
place
of that
is
issue.
called Eden. Yeah.
So,
but we come to find out that it's sort of we'll come to find out that it is actually a real place, and it's because
but that's not weird necessarily.
No,
because they needed to pick a place to go hide.
Exactly.
So why not pick a coordinate?
So they all picked that coordinate to meet at, and that's why they chose it. It wasn't necessarily because they believed it was real from the comic. They made it real because
they made it real. Exactly.
Yeah. And while this is happening, the Reavers are closing in on their location by going to the same store they were at before, using Caliban's abilities. But while Logan is coming back into the casino, he notices that everyone is being racked with the seizures again that Charles creates when he loses control, and everyone in the casino is like losing it and being kind of stuck in place, can barely move. But Logan, with his abilities, which I forgot to mention earlier, allow him to somewhat be less affected by this.
He can keep moving.
Yeah, keep moving anyway. He manages to get up to the hotel. It's a pretty cool scene because Charles and Laura are surrounded by Reavers in the room, which is why Charles let his abilities go nuts. And they're all stuck frozen, but Logan is like slowly moving through and fucking them up.
And they can see him coming, but they can do nothing about it.
You can see the eyes watching, and then
that's a good scene.
Yeah, it's really, really good. Like right in the head, like right through the head and then through the wall. And then like it's really, really good. The guy can't even like pull the
But he has a
trigger.
gun pointed at
and he puts
Logan
a
and
right
everything.
through his head. And then right into
right
and then one point he puts in the back of a guy's head and they come out the front of his face, the 3 claws. Like it's just cool. You see Laura also is less affected. She's starting to try to crawl towards him, but like Charles surrounded by guns, but Logan.
And she's a savage, man. Like she would do it on pure rage. But
Logan, but they managed to kill them all and then get out of there. And Charles is kind of realizing what happened as he's coming out of it. As they're getting, because everyone in the casino is like waking up for Al lying on the floor and messed up, and he's saying, "I'm sorry, because he kind of knows that was what he did. In the car, the radio also mentions this is where they hear in the radio that this is similar to what happened a year ago in Rochester, so we know that's where that happened.
You get the feeling it's longer, which is kind of funny.
It does feel like it's been longer, but you know, and even the 7 X-Men that died might not have been any of the ones we knew. This is like decades later, right? From like the X-Men we knew. So within the continuity of this world, Wolverine.
It's like 20 years later or something.
Well, the timeline Wolverine went back to after Days of the Future Past, right? It's different. So, but it's like that was the future from the last battle or whatever, all the way back to then. So, you know, it was like 30, 40 years. So there could be other mutants that are X-Men that are hanging around.
Definitely.
But
They just don't want to help.
Logan's frustrated, realizing that where they're going might not be an actual place. He doesn't really want to do it. Charles is trying to convince him this is the right thing to do. Makes him take his medication because he hasn't been taking it because he thought he could help Laura by not taking it. We meet, as they're going along, we meet Caliban, we meet Xander Rice, who played by Richard E. Grant. Very cool character actor. You may know from With Now and I. He was in an episode of Doctor Who. He's in a lot of cool stuff. He's in Can You Ever Forgive Me, which is a really cool movie that he did with Melissa McCarthy, which it's about based on a true story about this woman that would forge notes. She's really good at forging notes, and she would forge notes from famous people, like, and sell them to make money. And it's a true story, and it's super, super good. It's Melissa McCarthy. It's a very serious movie. It's not a comedy, really. I mean, it has comedic stuff, but it's certainly not her doing her normal goofy comedy thing. And much like Will Ferrell and Adam Sandler and other people, when they do serious roles, she's really, really good. But anyway, we find out
Will Ferrell does serious roles?
Yeah, he's been in a few movies that were serious, and they're very good. Stranger Than Fiction is a really good one, if you haven't seen that. It's like a dude that realizes his life is in a book. And
I think I have seen that.
Yeah, it's solid. And Everything Must Go. He's a guy that's wife left him, and he's doing a yard sale. He's just living on his front lawn trying to sell all his stuff. It's in like neighborhood kid kind of befriends him, and he kind of like finds a desire to live again, I guess. But it's a solid movie. So anyway, we find out that Pierce believes the Caliban's only give them enough information to let them
He's
delay
delaying
them. They delayed information. So Xander Rice is there to sort of,
which is definitely true. I mean, he's definitely giving them delayed information.
Well, Xander Rice is there to basically appeal to them, saying they only want the girl, and he'll let the other guys live and go away if they allow that. To which Caliban seems to believe him. But Caliban also mentions that they're, these people are savages, and he says, I know, but this is what I need to get what I need to get done, basically. So as they're traveling along, they see a car with a horse trailer get cut off on the highway by a truck, and it spins out. The horses get loose, and they're kind of running around, almost getting hit by these cars. And it's funny because it's like the future. So they're like these big trucks that are self-driving. It looks like there's no front. They're almost like a tank, like a tank car. What do you call those things? The storage cabin things that people buy and make houses out of now. Those big train car things. Why can't I use words today?
Train car.
No, it's not called that. They're like the tanker shipping containers.
Oh, shipping container.
So
right.
Yeah, they almost look like those with wheels that they don't actually have drivers. So they're like just missing the horses in the highway. Charles manages to use his abilities to calm the horses down, allow them to get corralled by the family, which is a farmer and his son.
And then he does the stupidest thing ever, where I actually get mad at Charles because he should.
He goes to their house.
Yeah, it insists. Wolverine's like, no, like we get everybody killed. Let's keep moving, and these people are nice.
He doesn't say that. Charles says
no, but he knows better. Wolverine's like, no, let's no. Like he doesn't want to do it. He's like, let's keep moving.
Well, first Wolverine doesn't want to stop to help them, but then Charles says someone will stop, and then he says someone did. Like we can stop. So Charles is trying to once again reinstill Logan the need to help others instead of for himself. So they help them corral the horses, and they invite him for dinner. The wife does, and he doesn't want to go, but he says that I'm with my father and this is my daughter, and this is my father. Chuck and my daughter Laura Howlett, I believe, because in the papers, I think he finds the documents that Gabriella had. Oh no, that's later. I think is that later? Or is that before this? It must be.
I do like when they're at the table. He's like, "So where are you guys going?" And they say at the same time, "Oregon, North Dakota." And Dexter's like, "Yes, Oregon, and then North Dakota."
Yeah. I'm not sure if it's just yet or a little later. There's documents that he finds that Shay her DNA is specifically from James Howlett.
Mm-hmm.
So either this is where he learns his real name again, or he somehow learned it in between.
No, his license said James Howlett at the very start of the movie.
Yeah, so at some point in the movie, he found out what his real name was again.
Sometime in the intervening years, yeah.
I guess, but that's like a big thing. He must have learned his backstory at some point.
I mean, Xavier probably plucked that out for him at one point. Like, that's one of the ongoing storylines in those old X-Men movies is that Xavier didn't want to give Wolverine much information. He wanted him to come on it naturally.
I don't think that was a big thing. I think he couldn't.
Well, they kept talking about it.
But like in Logan,
I need you to read my mind again. He's like, no, I don't want to read your mind. You need to the body needs mind needs to heal itself, and you need.
Also, there's one part of this that bothers me about how this all gets dealt with because of what happened before. But it happened before in a shitty movie, so I don't know what to say. But we'll get there when we get there. So anyway, we meet the family. There's the wife, the son, and the husband. They have dinner together, and they all laugh and make jokes, and it's a nice time. Logan kind of loosens up a little bit and has fun with his family. He mentions that the girl doesn't talk because she never did when the husband asks him because she's like autistic or something is what they kind of imply. But the water generator goes, or the water pressure goes because there's some rich guy that thinks he owns all of these right away.
Well, he does, but he
Yes.
he had an easement with the previous owners,
which he didn't believe. So anyway, he goes out and Logan mentions, he said there's this asshole guy that's like stopping them from getting what they need in the farm. Logan surmises it might be the person that ran him off the road. He says he couldn't tell for sure. But Logan goes with them. They go out to this place. He puts Charles to bed, and they have a nice moment, basically, where Charles is sort of showing him that, like, this is you only get so many chances to have a family, and this is another one for Logan.
and absorb the feeling of it. He's just like, just take it all in and seek that out,
So he goes out with them. Also, X-23 discovers music because one of the kids has earpods, or other kid has earpods, the son. So he gives her his iPod for her to use, and she used to listen to music.
She just gets very creepy close to him.
Yeah, he just kind of gives her the head. So then
she's so good in this. Like this,
she's very good.
Yeah, she's so good.
So Logan and Buddy go out to turn their thing back on. The asshole farmer guy shows up with this cadre of dickheads. He doesn't.
I like it when he says to him, "Go play Okie dickhead somewhere else."
Yeah. But then Logan breaks the gun and punches the guy in the face. When he tries to hit him, Logan cuts him off first, punch in the face, breaks his gun over his knee. They all kind of skitter off, and he, the farmer says, like, you must have been trained like in the military, and he says a bit. Then we see. We do have some mention to some kind of thing that the Acolyte guys are working on that they have with them. It's sort of in like they have like in a trailer that they mention is like something they don't really talk about it very much, but there's some kind of seemingly secret weapon thing. So Charles wakes up when he hears.
You see, it's called X-24. Like
Yes.
they do flash you that.
So we see that Charles is awakened by Wolverine coming in the room, and he says that he realizes what he did now, and that Logan tried to save him from that knowledge, and he's horrified by it. Like he has such regrets, and but these past few days have given him a moment to see like happiness and life and all the things he hasn't been able to see again. But he kind of realizes that Logan's sort of more of a hero than he gave him credit for. But then we realize that the Logan in the room is X-24, which is a young clone of Wolverine, that stabs Charles in the chest, and then basically kills the rest of the family. The son tries to intervene.
It's super sad.
Yeah, the wife tries to protect the son with a shotgun. She gets killed. Just as this is all being watched by Xander Rice and Pierce in the car. they have some kind of thing set up to see through his eyes and see how ruthless and violent he is, which they're impressed by because this is what.
Saddest thing though, that Xavier says though before he gets stabbed though, he's just like, I remember what happened. And he's like, well, he says it's the best night he's had in a very long time, like a perfect night. And he's just like, but I don't deserve it, do I?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's super sad.
Yeah. And then he gets killed basically right after, essentially. He lives a little long enough to say goodbye to Logan, essentially, before he dies.
So sad, though, when Logan comes in and picks him up, he's like, it wasn't me. It wasn't me. It wasn't me that stabbed you. It's so sad, man.
He sees him.
Yeah.
So, but X-23 gets in and gets in a huge fight with X-24 and fucks him up, actually. She does a really good job.
Oh, she's the shit, man. She's
very good in this, yeah. She's pretty violent.
Oh,
but
yeah.
We see that he manages to stop X-23. Well, Logan has a minute. He comes down the stairs and has a face-off with him, but he doesn't care about Logan. He just wants to leave with X-23, which is his mission. So he turns to leave with her. And then Logan has a moment where he can't decide whether to go straight after him or go see if Charles is okay. Decides to go see if Charles is okay. Finds out he's been stabbed. Gets him out, puts him back in the car to try to get him out of there. But just when X-24 is leaving with Laura, I'll just call them Laura, so it's not X-24, X-23.
Yeah,
the farmer and the rest of his dickheads show up, trying to. He got like a whole posse with him. And they think that X-24 is Logan, so they go to fight him, and then Logan just fucks them right up.
So it's like, we'll offer you $5,000, and now I'm talking a week.
Yeah. During the chaos, Caliban.
He cuts Buddy's head right off, right? Like
The farmer guy's like, First he pops his claws, and the farmer guy's like, what the fuck? He just takes his head right off.
The other guys are like, let's get out of here. No, they shoot. They say shoot him. Actually, they start shooting him.
During the battle, Caliban manages to get a hold of grenades that are loosely placed near the edge of his door, and he blows himself up. He tries to blow Pierce and Rice up.
That's what sucks.
But
he didn't even get to take them with him, man.
No. But he tried.
Very disappointing. He did try. He just needed to throw them a little.
As far as Logan knows, he was dead from the beginning, right?
True.
So anyway, as X-24 is X-23 started getting a fight, and Wolverine getting a fight. Obviously, Wolverine is sickly and something's wrong with him. X-24 manages to fuck him up. And just when he has like the upper hand, it seems like he's going to kill him. The farmer who survived being stabbed in the stomach long enough to do this, drove his truck into him and drove him into this upturned kind of debris from the truck, which pierces him. So X-24 is stuck. Then he gets out and shoots him like with a shotgun in the head, like 3 or 4 times. Like really, it's actually like this farmer's pretty badass. Mm-hmm. And he turns and he sees Logan and he raises the gun on him because he looks like the guy that just killed his family. And also, he brought this on them. But then he goes to pull the trigger, but the bullets are out. And Logan's almost waiting for it because he wants to die, kind of. Because he's feeling the guilt of everything that's been happening. But then the guy, there's no bullets in the gun, and then he falls down dead. So Logan gets in the car with X-23, and they get away. He uses his claws to help her get out of her shackles. And part of what drove her into a rage against X-24 is seeing that he killed Charles, which she'd come close to. When Wolverine got Charles to the truck, they had a moment where he mentioned about the boat. He kind of sang the boat because that's what their plan was, to get away. And then he dies. But then we see that they get X-23 off the broken debris. Or X-24. Rice gives him some kind of a serum injection, which will help his healing factor go even stronger and heal him quicker. You see Logan starting to that he's sick. X-23's or Laura says she wants to drive. He doesn't want to let her because he's starting to fall asleep. He passes out because he's very hurt. She says that he's dying, and he says, "How do you know that?" And he says, "Charles told me. He also told me not to let you." Oh, we also found out she can talk. First she talks in Spanish, and
I got that there.
Hey, go ahead.
You can talk. You can talk. Well, why the fuck? What's all this bullshit been for the last 2,000 fucking miles? What? Shut the fuck up!
I like
Rebecca, Delilah.
Who's that?
Victor,
Who is that?
Mona, Gideon.
Who is that?
This is shit. He just starts driving him insane. He's like, "Oh, I liked it better when you didn't talk."
She won't stop naming all of her friends that she's supposed to meet at this place.
Yeah.
Unless he takes her. Basically, he says he'll take her, but he doesn't believe there's anything there. She tells
Only
him
because she won't shut up about it. He's like, fine, I'll take you there.
she makes him pull over, and he passes out basically, and then she drives the rest of the way. But before that, they stop sorry, is that just here? No, that's a little later. Sorry. They drive and they bury Charles in the woods. And then Wolverine has a whole thing where he beats the fuck out of the truck with like he's so overcome with grief and rage with a shovel.
Funny.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. And then he passes out, and then he wakes up in a local like vet hospital, I think, where she took him.
Was it a vet? No, there's other people waiting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just in a small town where this guy says like he recognized him as a mutant. He says there's not a lot of you anymore. He goes, I don't know much about your physiology, but there's something wrong with you. But Logan,
You're being poisoned, he tells him.
Yeah, you're being poisoned. So this is where they have this whole speech where he agrees he will take her. And we see that they're going to keep Caliban's body because they might be able to use it genetically to do something later. But this is where
tracking powers, he said, in high IQ.
Yes, yeah. So Logan finally gets. This is the scene where Logan finally passes out. She takes him. He wakes up and sees that they're at the place they're supposed to get to. Laura drove him the rest of the way. And she sees him up on the cliff with other kids and waving him up, and then he passes out. And he wakes up, and they're winching him up the side of the building, side of the cliff, and bring him up to the top. And they meet that all the other kids from the program. I think this is where he sees the notes from the program that he definitely is their DNA. But she also mentions she finds the bullet that he's been carrying around with him, which has kind of come up a few times in the movie.
And Xavier tried to tell him that she's his daughter.
Yes, he did say that a few times.
So did Gabriella, I think. People keep telling them that, but yeah. Not Gabriella. No, she does on the video.
She does, on the video, yeah. He says you may not feel it, but she is actually your daughter. So she finds the bullet, and she says that, he says that he thought about shooting himself with it. He said it was a reminder of something from his past, which I think was the bullet that made him lose his memory. Wouldn't it have been? That was shot in his head.
At least a nod to that.
Yeah, he said that it's to remind him about where he came from. So I guess he must have learned at some point, how he lost his memory and all that sort of stuff. But he carried it with him in order to use it to kill himself if he needed to, basically, again, because he's starting to lose his. She says Charles. Did I say this already? That Charles told her that he wanted to die, and he told her not to let him. Yeah. So he wakes up. He goes back to sleep. Basically, wakes up. The kids have shaved him to make him look more like he didn't when he was young.
In the comic books,
yeah, in the comic books. And then all the
he's
kids
like, it's not funny, and they're like,
yeah, they're all laughing. We also see that the older of the kids, Richter, is the one that he has earthquake powers that is kind of leading them.
Basically, the only one out of the comics.
He offers
there are certain names like Gideon and stuff, but that makes no sense.
He offers him the other 25,000. He says, like Laura said, this is what you do this for, and then he says, I don't need it. You guys do, but he's not going with them, and Laura wants him to, and he says, I did what you want me to. I got you here. You're going to get to go to where you want to go. Like, leave me alone. She's still not happy. She wants him to come with him, but he won't. I don't know if that's one of those things. I don't think he'll allow himself to be happy.
Exactly. He doesn't want to go to paradise or the Eden.
So he wakes up and they're all gone. They left him a note they had the serum that they used to help one of the kids and also to help him. It's this the same stuff they're giving the X-24, which apparently enhances your abilities. And Wolverine says that makes people crazy. And he says that not if you don't only take it in small doses. Like, it's very dangerous for you as a mutant.
It's like kick.
Yeah, kind of. But only to take. So when he wakes up, he finds they left him some with a note that says only a little bit, like, oh, don't take too much or something. So he wakes up and basically sees a bunch of drones that are following the kids in the woods and realizes that they're being tracked by the Reavers, and that like this is his chance that they're going to be captured. So he runs out into the I thought there was a scene before all this happens where he has a one-on with Xander Rice. Is it right here? Is it before? It's after this. So anyway, he runs off, trying to catch up with them. Gets in a fight with some of the soldiers and manages to fuck them up. Gets severely hurt, and then uses the entire bottle, realizing that in order for him to be able to help, he needs to be at his full ability. So he uses the whole bottle of the kick. We'll call it that for lack of a better term.
It's basically kick. That's
Yeah, but
what it does too. If you may take too much of it, it makes you crazy.
so as the soldiers are hunting the kids down in the woods and taking them down, Wolverine, X-23 and the other kids are fighting back and fucking them up a bit, but the soldiers are starting to win until Wolverine comes in and starts really fucking them up.
Mm-hmm.
But then when Logan kind of comes through the woods, let me see here. Logan comes through the woods and it's starting to wear off after he kills a lot of soldiers. And this is where he has a one-on-one talk with Xander Rice, whose father was the one. And he says, "You may remember my father who worked in the Weapon X program." He says, "Yeah, he put this shit in me, which is the adamantium." And he says, it's probably what's killing me. And he agrees. And we find out that Rice has been secretly the reason why there haven't been many mutants anymore, because he put something in the food, chemicals in the food, to make them not be born, essentially cure them, as he were, before it happened. So that's why there haven't been very many. But he's kind of been using the ones that he has genetically to use it for great soldiers and all that kind of stuff. So then Logan basically is what happens exactly? Oh yeah, that's right. It's pretty great because he explains his whole plan, and like Logan's really fucked up, like laying on the ground, like basically on his knees, can barely get up, and then Logan just pulls a gun that he took off from somebody else from behind, like in the back of his pocket, shoots Rice right in the head, and then tries to shoot Pierce and manages to get to safety, but then as the other guys come in to try to stop him, X-23 shows up and gets in a fight too. But then X-24 is there because he's upset that his father, in quotes, was killed. It's actually pretty great because like it's this big long speech and the Logan's just like like shoots him right in the head.
Tell me your plans, like your mustache twirling villain, and then we'll be done with it.
And then Logan gets in the fight with X-24, who manages to, and then the kids get free and manage to use their abilities to kill Pierce, which is pretty cool actually, because they have like the earthquake and the ice. And the wood powers, they're just covering him in leaves and freezing him and killing him. Like it's pretty great. So Logan manages to basically fight X-23 until X-24 to X-24 spikes him through the chest and then impales him on a tree. But as he's about to like make the killing blow, Laura uses the bullet, the adamantium bullet that Wolverine had, and shoots him through the head, killing him. Which is, to me, is like, it didn't kill Wolverine in X-Men Origins. It just made him lose his memory. So why did this one actually blow the skull off the other one and like literally kill him?
No, that bullet he got hit with in that other movie wasn't an adamantium bullet.
It had to be. It went through his adamantium skull.
It didn't. It just rattled his skull and knocked him
No,
over.
those powers wouldn't have done that. It was an adamantium bullet in the old one. I'm sure of it.
No. The one where they're just standing on Bobby Drake's deck and then he gets hit with a bullet and knocked out.
No. In Wolverine Logan, that's like in Wolverine Origins.
Oh, yeah, he has an adamantium bullet in that one. Yeah,
that he shot in the brain, and that's what makes him forget, because the brain is demolished, regrows because of his ability, but doesn't have the memories because it regrew. So that's how he forgot who he was. So why this one time it just killed the other one, I'm not sure. Maybe it's a more powerful bullet. Maybe the
less
bullet
powerful Wolverine.
Well, because it actually blows like the guy's skull out. So it didn't just go in his head, stop and kill him. So perhaps it's a different type of bullet, but it would have had to be, I guess. So they have a nice moment together before he dies. Logan dies, and then the kids all bury him and go off to Eden, which is Canada, which is nice.
Yep.
Canada's given on the radio, and this is another one of those things that if you're paying attention, you can piece together the things. Richter's talking to someone on the radio that says that they'll have amnesty if they make it over the border, which is in Canada. Yeah. They bury Logan and make a cross of wood, and Laura takes the cross and turns it sideways to make an X.
Don't we find out that it's like Heather Hudson that they're talking to or something like that?
There is a nod somewhere that says Alpha Flight. I think somewhere in the credits or something. That's kind of, I think that might be who they were talking to or something. But I think that's it. So yeah, Logan's gone, and the children get to live on, and they use the Johnny Cash song "When the Man Comes Around," which is nice in the credits. My wife heard me listening to the movie as it ended, because I just let that play because I like that song, and she said that song always chills her to hear because of the Dawn of the Dead remake that they did. That song is used in the intro when it shows the zombies sort of taking over in society public. So
very good.
Yeah, and that's it. Nice, solid, classic, older tough guy with a last chance at redemption kind of movie, which I like.
Each of us will have to look into his own heart and decide.
It's time to decide, though, isn't it?
What are you giving it?
Well, let's take a look at the old ones here. Let's see where we're at, shall we? All right. Well, let's bring it up. So, what did I give the Wolverine? I gave the Wolverine an 8. Can you see that?
Nope.
Oh, hold on. There we go. All right. So, yeah, I gave the Wolverine an 8, and I gave Deadpool a 9.
I'd say this is just as good as Deadpool in a different way.
Yeah. In some ways, I liked the Wolverine better, though.
You like the Wolverine better than this?
In some ways.
Interesting.
It's a better Wolverine movie.
I mean, I want to give it a 10, but that seems like sacrilegious.
Like,
It?
would you not agree the Wolverine is a better Wolverine movie than Logan?
Yeah. Yeah, I guess. There's
more reflective of his character and that kind of stuff. Like this movie sort of takes characters in new places, which is nice. It was refreshing at the time.
And it's also years have gone by, so
they're
whatever
kind of far removed.
Not wildly different, but different means time has changed things. So.
Yeah. Well, you go first.
What's the highest rating I've given something on this? A 9 to Deadpool?
9 to Deadpool.
And X-Men 2, X-Men Days Future Past got an 8?
You gave it 9 to X2 as well. Yep.
Fuck. I mean, as a movie,
this. Do you like this? You think it's better?
This is really good. I don't know if I can give it a 10 though. I mean, I guess I should.
There are some drawbacks.
I should. Well, I don't find any flaw in the movie itself. Like whatever stuff goes on with I don't necessarily care about this Wolverine, stuff. I mean, the story's poignant. It's touching. It really does what it's meant to do. It's very well done. So I don't know if I can say this the best. Yeah, I'm gonna give it a 10. Give it a 10.
All right.
It's great. I really like it. I would give it a 9, but I feel like it's better than some of the movies. And I'm surprised because this means I like it better than X-Men 2, which is surprising. But I do think it is a better movie overall.
I'm also going to give it a 9, mostly because of Laura.
He's great. Really good. Rumor has
it, I do like Wolverine's good. Hugh Jackman's good in it, too.
Rumor has it we'll see her in a superhero costume doing superhero-y things in X-Men or Deadpool Wolverine. So
she denies that claim, but we'll see.
So did Andrew Garfield said he wasn't going to be in that Spider-Man Far From No Way Home.
Did he?
Yes,
You liar, Garfield.
He was on 9 different talk shows where he said, this is news to me that I'm going to be in this movie. And then, he was very good at keeping it a secret.
So Logan is our highest overall rated one so far with a 9.5. Because Jamil didn't show up to give it a 2 or a 0 or whatever.
Oh,
I wanted to hear that explanation, though. We'll have to talk about that some other time.
Jamil.
But, it's a 9.5. I think I probably like it about as much as Deadpool. Yeah.
I mean, as far as
it's kind of a better movie than Deadpool, but Deadpool's kind of more comic booky, more.
Yeah, I get you. Like you got to approach.
I like that Colossus. Yeah,
you got to approach it in a way where you're like, is it comic book? Just as a movie by itself, it's superb.
It's pretty good. Yeah,
yeah,
it's pretty good.
But
it didn't need to be a Wolverine movie. It could have just been like True Grit, like just a cowboy and a young girl.
Kind of is already. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I like the True Grit remake too. So,
yeah, I think it's vastly superior to the original one, and that might be sacrilegious to some people. But
I haven't seen the original True Grit.
It's John Wayne won an Oscar for because he was Rooster Cogburn.
I'm not a John Wayne fan myself.
Well, you mean Genghis Khan himself? You don't like him?
Genghis Khan himself. Yeah. All right. Well, let's. Do we have any X points? Or
Oh,
we
we got
kind of
lots
brought
fun
them all?
facts. Yeah, I got lots
Yeah.
of fun facts.
Well, I'll throw it an X point though, just like the Donald Pierce thing. So Donald Pierce is normally in the Hellfire Club. He's the White King, oftentimes, to Sebastian Shaw's Black King.
Interesting.
And then he like, but the funny thing is, he vehemently hates mutants. Like he does lead the Reavers as well, but he gets high up into the Hellfire Club inner circle, who he knows are all mutants and stuff. You know what I mean? So he's like surrounding himself with people he hates. He's kind of an interesting character. He wasn't very interesting in this movie, but he was cool. He just like wasn't particularly interesting. I would have just got rid of Rice probably if they wanted to do this Pierce thing. I probably would have just got rid of Rice, made it entirely Pierce, where Pierce was also the brains behind it. And
Could
sort
work.
of
Yeah, you didn't really need that guy.
No,
But maybe it was to kind of draw home the fact that
the connection to like the old.
the old one, and somehow to like reconcile the end of Apocalypse, which doesn't seem to matter. You know, where they
Our
pick
lowest
up the
rated
briefcase.
one, by the way.
Yes, X-Men Apocalypse is not our lowest rated one.
Yes, it is.
Is it?
I'm pretty sure.
I feel
Overall?
like X-Men 3 was lower than Apocalypse.
X-Men 3 got a total of 4.3 from us. You gave it a 4.
Yeah,
And Apocalypse got a total of...
I think I gave it a 5.
Apocalypse, you gave a 5, but I gave it a 1. And our guest gave it a 3. So it has a total of 3. No, our lowest one is X-Men Origins Wolverine with a
that makes
2.3 total.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, that does make sense. That movie was bad. All right.
All right, so fun point. The Chinese version of this is 11 minutes shorter because they cut out most of the blood and gore and use alternate angles for some of the scenes.
What's
But
the point?
They do include the swearing. The Logan.
There's a lot of that, by the way. There's a lot of swearing.
Yeah, Logan said, or Charles says fucking shit a lot too, which is funny.
Yeah. And Logan says it at least 20 times while he's beating up that car. He's just like, fuck, fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so let's get some fun trivia facts. So
right, let's
Hugh
get
Jackman said this is the hardest Wolverine movie he ever had trained for.
Because he's getting older.
They set this movie where they did in the timeline so it avoided X-Men Days of Future Past, like it was ahead of that one. To kind of make it make sense. Mangold said he wanted to keep it different from the continuity of the others. He stated in an interview it's funny because Hugh Jackman stated in an interview at this time that the only way he would reprise his role because he felt this was a perfect end for the character was if they did a Deadpool Wolverine movie, which
That's
is
right.
what happened.
I remember that he said that. That's funny.
Now
Rumor has it he'll be in quite a few more movies.
You think so?
Well, that's a rumor I heard this week.
What, that he'll be the Wolverine going forward?
Well, he'll be in a couple of Avengers movies anyway.
Oh, yeah. I guess that's the whole continuity thing, right? Because it's all Secret Wars, parallel universe versions. It'd be kind of fun if they did have him in it. Whatever. Why not?
You kind of expect to see everybody from all the universes in the Secret Wars.
The scene at the table where Charles tells the family about a school for mutants. They mentioned that Charles had a school before when they're having dinner with the family. Special needs. That was all improvised. Apparently, it wasn't in the script. But Mango.
Oh, that's funny.
Said they wanted to. The mutant girl with forest abilities that they called Pinecone Girl in the credits was actually X-23's stunt double. James Mangold was so impressed by her that he gave her an actual role. And just a small
Pinecone Girl. They could have done.
That's what they call her. Yeah,
Pinecone Girl.
Nature Girl, or whatever the hell she was.
And go with Nature Girl.
So Hugh Jackman admitted that having 2 lingering regrets about retiring from the role of Logan Wolverine. He never appeared in an Avengers movie, so that might be why we might see him in one later forward. They never appeared and then he never appeared in a Deadpool movie. So the fact that he's got in the Deadpool movie.
Well, his likeness was in a Deadpool movie.
That's true, but he didn't get a chance to act with him. And him and Ryan Reynolds are good friends in real life, so there's that too. He'd hoped X-23 would become the new Wolverine of the franchise and they would go forward, but obviously that's not happening with Marvel and all that stuff. James Mangold wanted to make the movie more human feeling. They used very little CGI or green screens in this movie. As you'll notice, which I thought you would probably appreciate.
Mm-hmm. I did.
Throughout all of his portrayals of Logan,
no shitty rope work, because those other X-Men movies are loaded with shitty rope work.
Well, the first few are before CGI kind of took off.
Oh yeah.
Throughout all his portrayals of Logan, Hugh Jackman stated he learned his American accent from copying Johnny Depp. Which is funny because Depp doesn't have a conventional American accent. Not the way he normally talks. It's very slow. Johnny Depp.
I'm kind of...
You like tell jokes, do you? I like jokes too. Do you ever watch that Extras? Not Extras. The Life's Too Small? Or Life's Too Short. The one with Warwick Davis where he plays himself. There's a Ricky Gervais show. And Warwick Davis plays himself as kind of an asshole a little bit. But he's like a talent coordinator for little people, and usually gives himself all the best jobs and sort of follows his life. But at different points, he goes in to see Ricky Gervais and Stephen Merchant, who play themselves, to pitch shows or things he wants to be in. He usually runs into other actors too. Like Liam Neeson is there in one episode, and he has a whole thing where Liam Neeson's trying to do comedy, and it's really, really funny. Which is why I'm kind of excited that Liam Neeson is doing. They're doing a remake of the Naked Gun movies, and Liam Neeson is playing the Leslie Nielsen character. Which I think of people
weird.
that could. Well, it is, but I think
Liam Neeson or Leslie Nielsen was a serious actor.
He was until Airplane. But anyway, there's a really good Johnny Depp one. Remember, like Ricky Gervais made fun of everybody really hard at the Golden Globes. I think it was the first time he did.
Oh yeah, it was great.
And Johnny Depp comes in and he's like talking with them about some movie project, and he goes, and he's getting a little upset with Ricky for all the jokes he made about him, and Ricky's like, "They're just jokes, Johnny." You know, and then Johnny does like, oh, you like jokes, do you? And he goes, well, me and some of my Hollywood friends got together and wrote some jokes for you. And he takes this paper out, and he starts reading off jokes. He goes, what is worse than Ricky Gervais's comedy? His teeth. And he goes to the next one, and then he reads off all of these like horrible jokes, and Ricky's just standing there listening to him, like just sitting there like this to every joke. And at the very end, Johnny Depp goes, nobody. And he points right at Ricky, goes, and I mean nobody makes fun of Tim Allen on my watch. That was one of the funniest jokes that year. He said, our next guest is a multi-Academy Award winner known for such films as Philadelphia, Forrest Gump, Castaway, a powerhouse of acting and an industry legend. And the other is Tim Allen. And he just goes like this. So good. This was the first superhero movie to be nominated for an Academy Award for Best Adapted Screenplay. It's the first superhero movie to be nominated for screenwriting since The Incredibles, the first Incredibles movie in 2004. So that was 13 years later. They used a cool new camera motion blur thing for the effects of the Charles's ability, which is kind of cool.
It was a cool effect.
Daphne Keane was 11 years old at the time of filming, so she was not allowed inside a casino, even with shooting permits. So some shots were green screen to make her in the building.
That's pretty ridiculous, but
yeah, but whatever. This is the first Wolverine-centric movie that Patrick Stewart played a major role.
What a teeny tiny little 11-year-old she was, though. Like,
yeah, she's very small.
Yeah.
Obviously, the title was a reference to Old Man Logan, the Mark Miller comic, which kind of this sort of has something to do with, but not very much so. I would have really liked to see that.
Charles is the Old Man Logan in this.
Yeah, kind
He's
of.
the one who
I would
killed
really
the
like to
X-Men.
see that version of the movie. Wouldn't that have been wild?
I think that would have been better too. And that's
Fucking
another
Maestro
reason it doesn't get a
with
10 for me.
Him fucking fighting like
Maestro.
redneck Hulk in the desert.
Old Man Hawkeye.
Oh yeah, Spider Girl, the Venom T-Rexes, all that stuff would have been super.
Yeah, like the Spider Girl that's like Kingpin's daughter or whatever.
So according to director James Mangold, this movie is influenced by the crime story The Gauntlet, as I mentioned earlier. The dramas Paper Moon, Little Miss Sunshine, and The Wrestler. And Wild West movies The Cowboys, Unforgiven, and Shane. And of course, Shane is referenced to the movie. Sabretooth is originally going to have a small role where he helps Wolverine. X-23 and Professor X when they arrive in Oklahoma. Lee Schreiber's even approached about reprising the role. There was also going to be a scene where Logan encounters a kind of underground railroad for mutants, which might have had a cameo from a well-known character. But scenes were removed because the team behind the movie didn't didn't want to have an abundance of cameos or mutants in the movie.
That's fair.
So this is why the R rating was easier for them to get because of the popularity of Deadpool. So the Mangold's the one who pulled for the black and white version of the film because he was really impressed with the black and white version of Mad Max Fury Road they did. So it's called Logan Noir, if you can find that cut of it. The character of X-23 debuts in X-Men Evolution cartoon.
Yep.
Which Stephen Merchant also mentioned.
We may be covering next. We'll see.
Yeah, whatever.
I mean, Wolverine and the X-Men just tied it again in the old poll. That's been a neck and neck race between Evolution and Wolverine and the X-Men. So if you're listening and you have a preference on what you'd want to hear us review next, get on that poll.
Well, here we go for this one. Regarding the question of why X-24 instead of Sabretooth or some other supervillain, Mangold says he played around with those other ideas before settling on the clone. With any more elaborate character arriving, you require a set of explanations. What is Sabretooth doing there? Why is he helping Transigen? What's his role in capturing Laura? Also, there are more verbal characters, so now we're going to talk. It also goes back to his earlier point about finding what scares Wolverine the most. Fighting another bad guy doesn't do it, but fighting himself does.
Yeah, narratively it works. It's just
this answers our question earlier. Steve Merchant is the second actor to portray Caliban after Thomas Lemarquis in X-Men Apocalypse. Johnny Cash's cover of Hurt was used on the first trailer of this movie.
Yeah, I remember it.
Ian McKellen expressed an interest in being in the movie, but obviously that didn't happen. The movie takes place 6 years after Wolverine woke up in the alternate 2023 in the end of X-Men Days of Future Past. However, it was later confirmed that the previous X-Men movies took place in Earth 10,005, while Logan takes place in Earth 17315. I don't know who confirmed that. It must be on a X-Men universe book somewhere.
Yeah, it's on the Marvel Wiki.
Yeah, that's probably where it is. Second longest X-Men movie behind X-Men Apocalypse.
Oh, God. They kept the Apocalypse.
Millie Bobby Brown, who you may know is 11 from Stranger Things, auditioned for the role of X-23.
I'm glad they went with Daphne Keane. She was so good.
She was good. This is the third collaboration between James Mangold and Hugh Jackman. Previously, they worked on The Wolverine and Kate and Leopold, which I didn't know James Mangold directed. Mangold praised Stephen Merchant's acting in the film, saying he did such a really good job and really showing an affection for Wolverine and Charles. Jackman took a pay cut to ensure the budget was kept low enough to allow an R rating.
Yeah, right on.
Second X-Men movie to have his world premiere at a major film festival. Boyd Holbrook gained 10 pounds for his role. The first trailer resulted in fans sending Mangold clips from the Last of Us game, which kind of showed a similar concept of an old guy looking out for the young girl, which is kind of, obviously a very popular book as well. This is the fourth comic book adaptation nominated for an Academy Award for Best Adapted Screenplay. After Ghost World, which is a fantastic movie, American Splendor, which is also a fantastic movie, and A History of Violence, which is a very fantastic movie.
Yeah, I like that one.
It's a very good movie. A lot of people forget that it was based on a comic book. James Mangold praised Boyd Holbrook's portrayal of Pierce, saying one of the things you can really do that hurts your film is encourage the actor to just act evil. That's pretty much it. At 6'7", Stephen Merchant is a full foot taller than Thomas Lemarquis, who played Caliban in X-Men Apocalypse. Also,
at least he's taller than Wolverine.
That Caliban also spoke in a third person, which this one doesn't either. Richard E. Grant is...
Hey, check
done.
this out.
Pretty much. Richard E. Grant's the fourth Game of Thrones actor or actress to join the X-Men franchise. After Peter Dinklage, Ed Skrein played Ajax. And Sophie Turner. Mostly the score in this we didn't really talk about is really good as well.
Yeah. Kind of subdued, but yeah, it's good.
Pierce's full name in the comics is Donald Pierce. He is named after actor Donald Sutherland, who recently passed away, who played Benjamin Franklin Hawkeye Pierce in the MASH film.
Oh, wow. How about that?
Wow.
I like that. R.I.P. Donald Sutherland.
And Patrick Stewart and Richard E. Grant appeared in another film, A Christmas Carol, 1999.
Yes. Actually, that Patrick Stewart's Christmas Carol's pretty good. I saw it last year. All right. So let's move on to hey, to check this one out.
They'll play it again.
Our comic reminiscences and recommendations segment. You go first because I forgot mine over there.
All right. So on my upcoming episode of my other podcast, I have a group of people that have worked together on this literary anthology book called Friction. So they sent me a copy in the mail so that I could read it, and it's great. It's fantastic. It's and the how beautiful this book is, as well. Like just with the foil and the cover and the wings. There's wings on this girl that are hard to see. You can kind of see it in the light. Super cool. It's a great little anthology book with comics and poems and stories, and it's they all kind of have a lingering theme that kind of goes through the whole book. Super well done. It's very, very good, and I highly suggest it. Also, one thing I would like to suggest that I didn't read yet, but just got in the mail, was Jim Starlin has started doing Dreadstar comics again. You can pick those up on them. So he did. There's omnibuses coming out of everything he did before. There was a Kickstarter for those, but you can also get them on Amazon or anywhere you get books. And then he has new stories coming out as well, which is really cool. But yeah, read that Friction book. It's really nice.
All right.
Wow.
Sounds good. So, obviously, go read Old Man Logan.
Yeah.
Great covers by, some Steve
Very, very
McNiven
dark
art
book.
here. Yeah, very dark book, but some crazy stuff, some good covers. Oh, this is a classic cover.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I forgot the Red Skull was the big bad guy in that story. Well, up until.
But I'm actually going to also recommend, other than the original Old Man Logan, is they kind of released a Secret Wars tie in Old Man Logan, which wasn't bad, written by Brian Michael Bendis. But also, even more so than those two, my real recommendation is Old Man Logan by Jeff Lemire. If you're a Jeff Lemire fan, which I am.
I sure am.
And I forget his first name, but Sorrentino, such a good artist. You know who I mean. God, what's his first name? I could look it up. But this is a pretty fun series, actually. This Lemire, Sorrentino, Old Man Logan. It's like 12 issues. Check it out. It's good stuff. Yeah, it does 12.
That version of Logan
14
hung around the
issues.
Marvel Universe for a while.
Oh, 16 issues.
Because they brought him into the regular Marvel Universe as a way to have like a version of Logan after Logan died during the death of Wolverine.
Yep.
And
so
he's,
that
like
series
he's like in the X-Men and stuff. He's around quite a bit.
Yep. Yeah, so I enjoyed that series when it was out. Art's great, writing's good. Check it out. Lemire Sorrentino, Old Man Logan. All right, and before we get out of here, we should probably change the channel.
You don't like the movie? Change the channel.
Check Andre out on Hold Up a Movie podcast on our next episode. I just watched your pick the other night.
What'd you think?
We'll see. We'll save it for the show. I have mixed feelings on it.
Mixed? Oh, you're crazy. All right, we're gonna fight. We're gonna fight now.
Uh-oh.
I haven't watched yours yet, but I'm sure it's gonna be boring as fuck.
I haven't either.
I haven't rewatched mine yet either, but I'm excited to do that. So it's next Wednesday, is it?
I hope so.
Oh,
If
God,
it's tomorrow, I'm not going to
No,
make
it's not tomorrow. I can't make it either. I got to watch some movies. I don't think it's Wednesday. It's like a Thursday. It's a Thursday, I think. I think it's next Thursday. So anyway.
Godzilla Minus One was fantastic, though.
It was fantastic. It's a great movie. Well, my recommendation will be Lone Wolf and Cub. The Japanese movie based on the very popular manga series about a lone samurai whose family is murdered, and it's just him and his baby left alone, and he becomes a ronin, selling his sword for money to make ends meet and going on adventures. kind of along the way getting even with the people that killed his family. So there's 6 of the movies. The first 2 were recut into one movie called Samurai Execution. Oh, wait, what's it called? It was called Shogun Assassin. Was the if you put the first 2 movies together with a really cool soundtrack, and that's great in its own right too. But watch the original movies; they're a ton of fun and really, really good,
Right.
and very reminiscent of this sort of story.
Well, let's get out of here, shall we? You can. Oh, actually, we should. What's the homework assignment? Actually,
Watch Deadpool 2.
All I need now is for you to contact your students, Professor.
But don't kill them by contacting them with your mind powers, insidious mind.
Your job is to kill all of your friends and family, Professor.
Yeah, Deadpool 2. Yeah, Deadpool 2. And a little extra homework. Vote in the poll. Look, we haven't decided 100% yet. It's pretty much been narrowed down to 3 by the poll. There's some votes elsewhere for like things like Legion and Gifted and stuff, but there's right now Evolution and Wolverine and the X-Men are tied at the top with Spider-Man TAS just nipping at their heels. So those are the top 3.
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to do that one. Doesn't really fit with our brand, but pretty great.
Yeah, I know. We have to. We'll see. We'll see what we do. Anything could happen here.
Just start over the beginning and make a whole new show for that one. Build a new fan base. You're fine with this, right, Davin? It wasn't too much hard work, was it?
Nah, why not? Let's do it.
Sure,
we're spiders now.
We'll follow us and to be spider freaks.
Well, vote in the poll, everybody.
All right, we'll vote. How long is this poll going on for?
Till we another week anyway.
Until it lands on the one we really want to do, and then we'll stop it.
Well, it obviously has to end by the time we're done these movies, because then we need something to do.
Sure. Well, Deadpool and Wolverine is right around the corner too, is it not?
Yep, we'll review that one too when it comes out.
All right. You know.
And then we'll start something new after Deadpool and Wolverine. We should probably go over that stuff too that guy sent us. Like,
okay,
remember that? There was that writer guy from England, and he sent us a bunch of stuff. I haven't had time to look it over, but it was interesting stuff. It's like a pretty complete cast listing. And
did you see the recent trailer they released for Deadpool?
The one with Sabretooth?
Yeah, Tyler Maine's back as Sabretooth.
Yeah, we knew that anyway. But kind of. He just looks like me. Just like a guy with a giant beard.
He looks exactly the way he looked before, but with a beard.
Yeah.
He looks no different.
Like, yeah, I didn't think he looked great before.
But he talks in this one, which is even better. He didn't talk in the old one, so.
Yeah, he said, in the old one, he said, they knew. Right. And he also said, scream for me.
Right. But, he says more complete sentences.
No, they didn't give him a more complete sentence than that in that trailer, did they?
He said something like, I'm next, or I'll fight you next, or something like that.
Yeah.
He says something pretty. It seems more like a regular sentence. It sounds like he gets to actually do something, so that's fun.
We'll see. Probably a good little fight anyway. You can support the show at patreon.com/X-Men Review Show. You can get some sweet merch there, or you can go over to redbubble.com/people/X-Men Review Show/shop and check out our sweet merch over there. We're buying it. People are buying it. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're doing that right over there on the Redbubble. It's nice to see. Thanks, everybody. Contact us at xmenreviewshow@gmail.com or just holla at me on Facebook, because that's where we are. We're on the YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch, and you can find our audio-only version wherever you get your podcasts. And of course, please like, review, and subscribe. Still not a lot of reviews out there. Give us a review. We review stuff all the time for you guys.
I would just like to commend you for wearing those goggles this entire show.
They're kind of comfy. They're not bad.
Want to see something gnarly? I went to the doctor today. I tore my bicep. See this? See this indent here? The tendon that connects your bicep to your shoulder is gone. So.
Well, I feel like you need that.
Well, Not apparently no.
No.
Cosmetic well, yes and no. There's a second.
Your arm's just gonna look like that forever now.
Apparently, I mean, I do have an MRI and to meet with the orthopedic surgeon to see if they can fix it. But it might just. I know other people who've had the similar injury, and theirs just looks like that now.
Huh.
So
Guess you should have took better care of your bicep tendons, huh? There, Mr. Matt.
I stretched and did all my shit when it happens. So just too strong.
Just
for my own good.
Yeah, to just busting out all my tendons.
That's right.
Yeah. Yeah, we are a proud member of the United Federation of Podcasts. Should we get out of here, Andre?
You didn't ask me to talk about my next episode of my show, but that's fine. Never mind.
You're right. I'm going to do that right now because I'm curious myself.
The Graphic Histories Podcast.
No, I don't want to talk about it. No, I'm just kidding. Next, as I mentioned when I was talking about the books, some of the creators.
Sean Daly, just on there.
He was very good episode. Really fun guy. Really cool dude. Great chat.
Yeah, very zen. I feel like we could be friends.
He is very zen. Very, very chill. And but very engaging. And in that podcast, we talked about a secret project he couldn't discuss that he told me about off mic, but has been announced now. So he can talk about it. It is he's doing a crossover comic of Usagi Yojimbo in the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. Which is insane.
That is
but
so
funny.
strange.
But I'm definitely going to read it. It looks ridiculous.
Yeah.
So, hey, why not? So Sean Daly was just on. Then next guest is some of the creators from this Friction anthology series, which is pretty cool. And after that is kind of Daryl Wall, the...
oh, Daryl.
Yeah,
nice.
Giant Robot Comics owner and operator.
Yeah. And all-around great guy.
Very, very nerdy chat. Obviously, we're both colossal nerds. And... yeah, we have a really good conversation. Great chat there. And then after him,
forward to that one.
We don't have it recorded yet, but I have a couple people lined up. So I do have one on Thursday, I believe, or no, tomorrow. With Dennis Knight, who is a comic book writer.
Very cool.
Yeah, and then after that, we will see. There's a couple people that are in
my buddy Sam.
Sam,
my buddy Sam.
Who's your buddy Sam?
You said you'd interview my buddy Sam.
Oh yeah, but he has to meet in person. He can't do it over the thing, which is fine.
Oh no, he's just gonna come to. He's just gonna come to my studio.
Okay, well then tell him to figure that out.
Yeah.
So Tony Salmons as well, or Salmon. Was it Salmons?
Salmons. Gotta be Salmons.
Who is actually like a really cool artist from Marvel Comics. Like really talented dude. Did a lot of cool stuff back in the day. He's a really unique dude. And I've been talking with Paul Levitz, and I got to get back to him because he told me to get back to him in early July. So now's the time.
Yeah, lots happening over there.
Hopefully they'll happen. I mean, I only have 2 episodes lined up right now, but yes, we're doing good.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's get out of here then, Selma.
Thelma.
Thelma. That's what I meant. Let's get out of here, Thelma.
Are you Louise?
Why not?
I hate it when the waffles stick together.
There we go.
This cross-country flight from La Hell, we didn't stick together.
Now you're picking up what I'm throwing down.
I'm getting it.
I like it. All right. Catch you next time, everybody.
All right. Next time.
I don't know how you got me here, but thank you.
Beam up some Star Trek content with Live Long and Podcast. Tune in to X-Rated, the X-Men animated review show. Artistic interviews with graphic histories. A roundtable movie discussion with Hey, did you see this one? And movie reviews with Hold Up, a movie podcast. And while you're at it, spin a few records with Eamon on Track. Watch us duke it out on trivial debates. And let's chat about TV with the Super Mater Brothers. It's all here on the United Federation of Podcasts.